guys. Happy hour is from 4 to 6.
Miss Kennedy, would you get me a medium dry vodka martini?
What is
Shaken, not stirred.
Hold on. I'm not hearing it right. Hold on. We got it now.
Is there alcohol in this?
Oh, God, honey, no. What kind of mother do you think I am? Why do you want a little bit? Because if you're going to drink, I'd rather you do it in the house.
Make it Suntory time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Happy Hour Tuesday. I hope everyone's doing really well out there. I have a great guest later, Tyler Wolf. He'll be on at 5. He's really knowledgeable about film, and I'm sure we're going to be discussing the Golden Globes quite a lot. So if you're not into that, I totally understand. But I think it's still interesting to talk about because a lot of these films are really good, and it's cool to see, essentially what the first awards kickoff show has to say as far as the voting. So yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about that. And a bunch of other stuff. So, but first, I'm going to definitely get into the chat just to say hi to everyone. I hope everyone's having a fantastic, wonderful Tuesday. Crown Royale 0232. Thank you so much for joining. I hope Giamatti cleans up this award season. Loved him since he was Marty Wolf in Big Fat Liar. I love him, and I would not be upset at all. I think Cillian Murphy did an incredible job in Oppenheimer, but I don't think it's Cillian Murphy's last shot at getting an Oscar. I just don't. He's too good of an actor. He's been in the game for a really long time, but Giamatti's been in the game just a little bit longer. So, and I think that, I mean, we'll get into this probably later too, but I really do think that no one has ever really been blown away by acting performances as far as the emotional part of it. Everyone that's in Oppenheimer is really, really good. I can see why Downey's going to win. But you take a role Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers, and I think that that's just such a more I don't want to say a more complex character, but there's a lot more going on constantly in that man's head. I feel like this is more of just a one specific instance. It's kind of okay, yeah, he's torn about helping create the bomb and everything like that, and I think that is totally valid for an actor to portray. And I'm not trying to downplay his performance at all, but I just feel like you're playing almost like an average Joe schmo is sometimes a little bit more interesting and nuanced. So I'd be happy either way if Cillian Murphy and Paul Giamatti wins, but I agree with you. I would really love to see Paul Giamatti win the Oscar. And also, and again, Nolan's going to win Best Director for Oppenheimer. There's no question. So, it's not like Oppenheimer's not winning in the long run. So hello, Tyler Wolf. I'm so glad to see you in the chat. He is my guest today, so we're going to be excited, and we'll be talking about a lot of that stuff. Yeah, that does. Yeah, Big Fat Liar. I saw that in the movie theater with my best friend in middle school, so I definitely remember seeing that for sure. Shout out to Dan Tarashi if he is out there. I think I forced him to see it because I was so into Frankie Muniz at that time. So, but yeah. Anyway, Luke Ponto, how's it going? I'm so happy you're here. Thanks so much for joining us today. Laren, so nice to see you. Happy hour. Cheers. I'd love to know, your thoughts on what everyone in the chat, what you're looking forward to seeing. I'm so wrapped up in award season right now. And I actually, to everyone that is a member, I have only 2 out of theater reactions for memberships online, but I have shot 3, and it's just been a really crazy week. So you will be getting tonight or tomorrow American Fiction, And then probably right after that, then you're going to get Iron Claw, which I absolutely loved, and then Color Purple, which I just saw 2 days ago, I believe. No, Saturday night. Sorry, Saturday night is when I saw Color Purple. So just letting you know. Hello, Max Field. Thanks so much for stopping by. He's obviously very supportive, and my movie date all the time. Speaking of memberships, Joseph, thank you, Joseph. That's so kind of you. I know these are wrapping up. Like, I'm trying to get stuff to just members. I'm gonna definitely like start pumping more stuff out for just members only. So again, like out of theater reactions are not going to be seen by anyone else, and as well as once I get caught up on those, and probably an only member stream and things like that. Maybe we'll do it with like an only member watch along. That might be fun. I don't know. I'm really open to suggestions when it comes to this stuff. So I just think like everyone in this community is just awesome, and thank you so much for your support, Joseph, and everyone else. Let's see here. We've got Horsetooth Cinema. So nice to see you. I hope you are doing well. I'm sure you've been seeing some good films recently. So definitely cheers to you, Horsetooth Cinema. Your name always cracks me up because, and I'm not trying to sound like generalizing, but you do a lot of the streams with a lot of my friends from across the pond, and I always think it's funny that you're like the one American, and I always associate your name with being British. So, but I love it, and it's like it's great. Thank you so much for joining us today. Cryptic Beats, how's it going? Hope you're having a happy week. Again, anyone in the chat that wants to say, what they've been seeing recently, like so much good cinema out, really. I still have to see The Zone of Interest. So everyone, I think, knows that I did a worst of the year list. And I just haven't done the best one yet because I'm still waiting to see The Zone of Interest because I really want to see if The Zone of Interest is going to make my top 10. Once I see that, I'll put it out for sure. Like, no question. I just have a feeling it might be in my top 10. So I would hate to put a video out and leave that one out. So thank you so much. Everyone's like thanking Joseph. That's really fantastic. That's so kind. Jason, the old millennial, how's it going? Jason was giving some great feedback during my Golden Globes live stream. So yeah, we all had a great time if you were there. I apologize that like my mic settings and stuff were a little off. It was a new setup, and I could tell that like it wasn't the best sound quality, but we had a party and it was a blast. And I really want to thank everyone that joined us. Austin Maxey, thank you so much for stopping by. So nice of you to join us today. I'm pumped to have you here. Thank you so much. This is your first one. That's really kind. Hey everyone, what's up? View with Drew. How are you doing? It's always nice to see you in the chat. I wonder if the Golden Globes killed the chances of Barbie. I think so, and I'm happy about it. I think it's kind of like, again, I will say this for the billionth time about Barbie. First two acts of Barbie are great. The last act is a mess. And I really think that like the Academy, all of the voters are not idiots. And I think when you compare Barbie to everything else that's nominated, there's no comparison. I mean, you've got some of the, best films in decades being presented to you as an option to vote for. So, I do think that it will get the best song. I do think that Billie Eilish is going to win again for best song for Barbie. But besides that, I would be shocked if it won anything else. Agent Cody Banks was top tier. Yeah, it was. Definitely. I hope the Zone of Interest wins something. Oh wait, I think I'm confusing Agent Cody Banks and Big Fat Liar. I am. I meant to say Big Fat Liar, but I was also into the whole Agent Cody Banks thing too. I was 12. Like, my goodness, it's okay. I hope the Zone of Interest wins something at the Oscars. Saw it at LFF in October. Maybe Best International Feature. Well, so it's going to be between that and Anatomy of a Fall. Past Lives is in such a weird situation. I want Past Lives to win everything, but I know it's not going to. I do want it to get some type of recognition, but because it's like considered not a foreign film, but it kind of also qualifies as one. It's really tricky because it's like 51% of the film is in Korean and the other 49% is in English. It's very similar to Anatomy of a Fall in that sense. but you have like an American cast. I mean, except for Teo Young. But yeah, so I don't know. It's tough. I'm really looking forward to seeing the Zone of Interest. I think I actually have to. I have the Regal Unlimited, but I think we're gonna have to pay to see it at AMC because I think there's only at this point. I think the only place to see it would be AMC at Lincoln Square. So, Franco Walker, so happy to see you here. Thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah, 100%. And it's a good song. Like I don't think that I'm gonna say the Billie Eilish one. I think the Billie Eilish song is actually quite good. I think that I'm Just Ken. It sounds like someone wrote it in their sleep. I think it could have done a lot better for Ryan Gosling, to be honest. And actually, a lot of the music this year in films have kind of driven me crazy, and it was such a reminder of this when I saw The Color Purple, because The Color Purple's music was fantastic. And I think that when you see something that's written by people that actually know what they're doing and they're not dabbling or tiptoeing into like musical theater, it's like, wow, like it's such a huge difference. And like that was one of the highlights absolutely for seeing The Color Purple. It was like finally some like well-written songs for films, because The Little Mermaid and even Wish, like there's been quite a few this year. I mean, we're not even gonna talk about the song in the Marvels, but I'm just saying, like, there's so many instances this year where they've tried to insert songs into films and they're not good. So I'm happy that I was able to have that reaffirmed, that there are actually like really great, musical theater songwriters out there still, because I know that, like, I live in New York. There's tons of Broadway shows. Some don't have the best music, but a lot of them do. So that's how I felt about The Color Purple. Really, really, really well written songs. Let's see here. Oh, that's very nice. Yes, everyone's thanking Joseph for the membership. D. Marcel, hello, hi, thank you so much for joining us again. I saw you. What's today? Today's Tuesdays. I saw you last night on Bone Bridgers. I see a lot of these people on Bone Bridgers Monday night stream. So I can't stop. You can't stop what, Franco? I don't. Oh, just okay. I got you. Yes. Very, very happy to at least have you stop by. It's really kind. You like everyone that does that, like, and you're like just saying hi, I can't watch the whole thing or whatever. It's like you don't even have to say anything. Like that's just going above and beyond as far as niceness goes and kindness. So that's really wonderful. Thank you. Cryptic Beats. Is anyone waiting on Legend of the White Dragon? Let me just look this up really quick. Legend of the White Dragon. I'm sorry for my ignorance on this. Jason David Frank, Sierra Hanna. This is not anime, right? I know, I don't think it is. I actually don't really know what this is. It sounds cool though. Science fiction superhero film. Crowdfunded through Kickstarter. Well, like that piques my interest a lot. I like that when stuff is crowdfunded like that. I think it's shows how passionate someone's fan base is, and not fan base, but you know what I mean. Like people believe in them, and then they finally get a film funded. I think that's fantastic. So that's cool. I'm gonna look into that more. I don't know if people in the chat know what Legend of the White Dragon is. Feel free to chime in on this one. I've been mostly watching garbage this month in proud January tradition, watching Gooby tonight, horrifying motion picture. I don't know what Gooby is either. So you guys are throwing some curveballs at me. That's cool. I love it. Gooby. I will check that one out. I watched Dream Scenario. Interesting premise. Didn't like where it went. I really liked Cage's performance. I'm so happy you brought up Nick Cage, because this is something I did not notice during the ceremony. I found this out today. Did you know there was who Nick Cage was sitting with? Nicolas Cage was sitting with Joaquin Phoenix and Jared Leto, and it was just like the three of them at a table together. And I think that's the funniest thing and the craziest group of people to just throw together. And I would love to have been a fly on the wall for that, like 100%. Just like even just like have it have been recorded, because they were like, Max, my boyfriend, was like joking. He was like, did they call it the weird table? It was a trip to see that those three gentlemen were like they planned on putting those three together. And it's very funny to me. And I thought about it. I was like, is it an A24 thing because of like Beau Was Afraid and Dream Scenario? But then I couldn't think if Jared Leto's in an A24 film currently, or he's going to be in one. So if you guys know if Jared Leto is going to be in an A24 film, then that kind of makes a little bit of sense because of Beau Was Afraid and Dream Scenario. But, very funny. Blue Eye Samurai has been incredible. I keep hearing that. I keep hearing really, really good things about that. This is my 7th time catching your live streams. I watched about an hour or so of your Golden Globes live stream. Oh, that's very nice of you. Thank you for sticking through the bad audio. I really thank you. It's at a certain point it was kind of like, well, I think I've got it better to where it had been in the beginning, but trying different setups and like on the couch and using a different mic and things like that. So you can't get a break sometimes with technology. I'll tell you that. Question for everyone: which actor in a supporting role do you feel gave a better performance? Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling, Barbie. Okay, so I think that Ken was a natural character to Ryan Gosling. I think Ryan Gosling fully understood that role. Like it was kind of like secondhand nature to him. However, I think Downey really went out of his comfort zone, and I think that shows, and I think that Downey did an exquisite job in Oppenheimer. So I personally think that Ryan Gosling, I'm not saying every actor could play Ken in their sleep. I don't feel that way. I feel though that Ryan Gosling could play Ken in his sleep because he understood what he needed to do for that role so well. So I definitely think that seeing Rob Downey Jr. put himself outside of his comfort zone and like work with such an incredible auteur, like I think that is what boosts Robert Downey Jr. over Ryan Gosling by far for best supporting actor. It's kind of reminds me of like Willem Dafoe in Poor Things. Like Willem Dafoe can do that character in Poor Things in his sleep. To me, that's how I kind of equate it as. So that's Mark Ruffalo went outside of his comfort. That's why I nominate Willem Dafoe for Poor Things, but I would nominate Mark Ruffalo. It's the same thing here with Rob Downey Jr. and Oppenheimer. And I get we're gonna nominate Ryan Gosling, but he's not gonna win. And I don't even know if he needed to be nominated. I think there's quite a few other best supporting actor roles that probably deserve it more than Ryan Gosling. I think Ryan Gosling's incredible though, and I think he should get nominated at some point for he's been in phenomenal dramas and things like that where he does do something different. So I just saw the deleted Longlegs leaked trailer. Terrifying. Nick Cage is in it. Yeah, there's a wild story. I'm gonna have him like tell this story because he like contacted me and was like, watch this trailer right now, and it looked scary to me, and I thought it was about spiders, and I was like, I'm not watching this because I'm terrified of spiders. And then I was like, is it about spiders? He's like, it's no. So I went and clicked on the link, the Twitter link, and it had been taken down by the original poster, and it was apparently the scariest trailer he's ever seen in his life. And it's about a movie that's coming out, and I guess there was some like, I don't know. I think it was a publicity stunt to put this trailer out, to be honest. And I'm telling this story like pretty poorly, but Max can elaborate in the chat if he wants to. But yeah, so there's this mysterious, scary movie that Nicolas Cage is in, and so that's what that is. Hello, Hunter. Thank you so much for joining us today. Very nice to see you again. I actually listen to I'm Just Ken all the time. LOL. I agree. It's more for Gosling than the lyrics, though. It's more for Gosling. Oh, yeah. Oh, you listen to Ryan Gosling. Yeah. I actually really like his band, too. And I'm blanking out on his band. It's called Dead Man's... Oh, my God. I want to say Dead Man's Bones, but that is not it. But it's, like, really close to that. I used to listen to them all the time. And... Ryan Gosling's Dead. It is right. I'm right. It is Dead Man's Bones. Okay, I'm not crazy. So Ryan Gosling's band Dead Man's Bones is really good. It's got this weird, like, vintage, creepy hipster. I don't know. I dig it. I dig it. I haven't listened to them in quite a bit, but I used to listen to them constantly. He's got a great voice. Frisky, hey, how's it going, Frisky? So happy you're here. Thank you so much for stopping by. Yes, I'm waiting for Legend of the White Dragon. It's a Power Rangers thing. Okay. Thank you so much for clarifying that because I really did not know. So I love learning from everyone too. That's one of my favorite things about YouTube and this community is like you get suggestions and things like that from stuff you might not have even heard of because you like to think you see everything, right? But like there's so many movies made every year. It's impossible. And it's impossible to even hear about every movie that's being made. Thank you so much for raising your head. Thanks so much for stopping by. Hi. Everyone's saying hi. Disney Wish made it off the flop list. Oh, financially, I'm assuming that it's financially. I had a feeling that was going to happen just because of when it came out, and I feel like that children's films during like the holiday season, winter break, they tend to just have like longer legs, and I think the fact that it didn't do well opening weekend, I think that that doesn't really matter, um, because at a certain point, it's like, oh, the kids are home on break, we need to like get out of the house and like have them just like be quiet for a little bit, like let's take them to see Wish, you know. So I'm not surprised that it actually made its money back, if that is what you're saying. So thank you so much, John Joe, for chiming in here. Best table ever, Crown Royal. Best table. Oh yeah. The Joaquin Phoenix, Nick Cage, and Jared Leto. Oh my god, yeah, incredible stuff. Everyone's saying hi. Oh my God, Dell's here. Hey, Dell. Happy to see you. I wonder if you watched the Golden Globes. I would love to hear your thoughts on the winners. And also tomorrow, the Critics' Choice, I think it's tomorrow's Critics' Choice and Directors Guild nominations are coming out. So those will be announced tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to do a reaction or anything like that, but I'll definitely be discussing it probably next week. Maybe I'll make a video. I don't know. Probably not. But maybe I'll make a little short video for my members. That's what I should do because I have to get more content to you guys. Do you think in an alternate universe, Air wins Best Picture and Matt Damon Best Actor? Well, okay, so Jason, you were watching during the Golden Globes, and Max and I swear to this day still that someone put an ad up during the commercials that said that Air won 2 Golden Globes. And we were like, wait a second. And we literally thought we were so behind in the chat, like, because we were streaming it on was it Paramount Plus or Peacock? But yeah, so we thought like, oh my God, we're so behind that, like, and we couldn't believe it. And then that was wrong. So I feel like someone ran an ad that they like got confused and ran the wrong one. So yeah, I mean, maybe if this was like a year of really, this was like 10 years ago, maybe, or I don't know, a year with not really any heavy hitters, I could see that happening. But people want things that are more interesting, you know. There's not really a stretch. There's no stretch in making Air, you know. It was kind of like fine. It was like a good film, but it wasn't anything new or interesting. Long Legs about Hex the Devil in the Cult. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what that horror movie is about. And that's that trailer. Yes. So we have my guest is coming on in about 5 minutes, I would say. And so if we're going to talk about really quickly, I'm just going to say I thought Joe Coy was pretty. His monologue was not the best. It was pretty bad, and I kind of feel bad for him though, because normally you do get like 6 months to prepare, and you have like a whole writing team, and he had like 8 days or something like that, 10 days, something along those lines. Because I've seen Joe Coy's stand up before, and his stand up's really good. So I was really surprised how just it did not go well. And then also like the presenters as well. I felt like the writing for them was really good. Like I think the Golden Globes are that's the one ceremony like you're expecting everyone to let loose and like it's fun. And like, you know, that's why like a Ricky Gervais works well, or like when Tina Fey and Amy Poehler used to host, like they did not like shy away from saying a lot of things. And it felt like it was just like a who cares host, you know, it didn't feel special. So I'm hoping that next year they change it up. I think Jimmy Kimmel is doing the Oscars again this year. I'm fine with, because I thought he did a great job last year. I thought last year's Oscars was like the best Oscars I've seen in a while, production wise, except for that weird, we're going to present The Little Mermaid to you. And it's like, that was strange. You don't present a movie that hasn't come out yet during the Oscars. It's supposed to celebrate the films that were made the year previously and not just be an ad for Disney. So yeah, those are my thoughts, essentially, I guess, on the whole host and production of Sunday's show. I watched some of the Globes. I haven't seen a lot of the winners yet, so I don't have a ton to say other than I was disappointed Spider-Verse didn't win Best Animated. Yeah, I haven't seen Boy and the Heron. So I'm actually, I know my guest Tyler has, and he has a lot to say on that movie. So I'm curious what his thoughts are, because if Across the Spider-Verse doesn't get nominated for Best Picture, the Oscars, because it does have a chance, I'm still gonna put that into the universe, because I really do think that it's not possible. I think it's very possible. If it does not get into Best Picture, then I have a feeling it will automatically like need to win Best Animated. It's not saying Boy and the Heron's bad. I just feel like people would be so upset if Across the Spider-Verse. Well, you know what? I'm going to backtrack too. Maybe people think, well, it's a part one, and so when the part two comes out, we'll give it to the part two. Because sometimes people, people feel that way. But then it would be a shame, like part two comes out and it's not as good as this one, and then everyone's kind of like, oh, well, we should have given it to part one, but we didn't, so we're giving it to part two. I don't know. It's very complicated with Across the Spider-Verse, and it's very complicated with animated films, the Oscars in general. So, yeah, I agree with you. I was disappointed only because I haven't seen Boy and the Heron. So, but if it does like wind up like knocking my socks off, then I'll be happy that it won. Kevin Costner looking like he was 3 sheets to the wind was awkward as hell. Yeah, what was going? Oh yeah, oh he was reading. Wasn't he reading the speech from Barbie? I think that like that was shtick. It was so awkward and weird. If you guys know in the chat exactly what he was doing, I think I learned later that evening that that's what he was doing. The speech that I don't really care for. Yeah, I think that's definitely what was going on. I think I'm lighter on both Spider-Verse and Boy and the Heron compared to most people, but I like both. It'd be cool if I could get both, if they could get a Best Picture nom. See, now that's the thing. You brought up a really good point. I didn't even think that Boy and the Heron would get a Best Picture nom because I don't think that's even crossed anyone's mind, except Across the Spider-Verse has. So that's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, that would change the game as well. I think as I'd say my prediction's still going to be, obviously they're both getting nominated for Best Animated. If either one of them gets nominated for Best Picture, I think it would be Across the Spider-Verse. But it wouldn't win though. I want to also preface that. Like, I'm not saying Across the Spider-Verse is going to win Best Picture at the Oscars. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying if they were going to choose one of them, I think that it would be Across the Spider-Verse would get the nomination. Usually they just went in there like a token pick. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, absolutely. It's tough this year because everything's so good. So I think if in order to do that, you'd have to get rid of either Zone of Interest, Anatomy of a Fall, or The Color Purple. If any of them get probably taken out, I would say, well, see, I can't even make this statement because I haven't seen The Zone of Interest. If I was going to choose between The Color Purple and Anatomy of a Fall, I would keep Anatomy of a Fall. And it's not because I didn't like The Color Purple. I loved The Color Purple. However, I think that I agree with people when they feel like The Color Purple is kind of like the fast forwarded version of the real Color Purple, which does work for musical theater, like 100%. Like you have to get from point A to point B really quickly. But when you're dealing with someone's life that's so traumatic, as far as like a full feature film goes, that to be nominated for Best Picture, I just don't see that happening. I don't know. I think performances should be nominated. I think if you've seen Color Purple, you'll know what I mean. It really just it jumps really quickly, and I get it because it's a Broadway show, but still, just for like a Best Picture nomination, that would be my only critique. That's a good point. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think what was the first one? Wasn't it Beauty and the Beast? I think that was, or was the first one in the 90s at least. I think it was actually Snow White was probably nominated for Best Picture. The OG. How does Color Purple compare to the Spielberg one? I think essentially what I said, like about fast forwarding through the story, but everyone's really good and the music's really good. Across Spider-Verse was probably the best Marvel project this year. That or Guardians, but I'm leaning Spider-Verse. Yeah, I mean, both of those are really good projects. I think Guardians is going to get nominated for visual effects. It's not going to, I don't think Guardians is going to win visual effects. I think the creator will probably win visual effects. But as far as Across Spider-Verse is gone, yeah, like that'll be nominated for Best Animated. Absolutely. Didn't Pinocchio get a nom last year? Guillermo del Toro's, yeah, but actually Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio won, I believe. And we saw Guillermo del Toro's entire exhibit at the MoMA. That was really fantastic. It was like all of the Pinocchio stuff. I highly recommend that movie, by the way. Oh my God. Oh, you're talking about Best Picture? Is that what you're saying? Okay. No, no, it did win. It didn't. I don't think it got a Best Picture nomination, just like Jason's saying, but it did definitely win Best Animated, as far as I can remember. Yes, exactly. And again, that makes sense. I just think that for like Best Picture material, but it's weird because I feel like if you had a musical that had like less of a intense story to tell, and you had music in it, like Tick Tick Boom is a great example. I feel like Tick Tick Boom has like a protagonist that's struggling and things like that. But I think that it's a simpler story. It's a less intense story. The music's amazing in Tick Tick Boom, just like The Color Purple. But to me, like that, the Tick Tick Boom feels like a complete telling of something from beginning to end. Whereas like The Color Purple, I could have had more. Like I could have had another minutes of watching what played out with these characters. So I'm gonna see where Tyler is. Also, thank you guys for chiming in about this. It's a complicated thing with animated stuff. Tyler, where are you? He's here. Perfect. Excellent. I just want to make sure because sometimes I've sent links out to people and I didn't send them out properly. So I'm glad to know my guest is here. I'm going to play his little intro video and then we will get the ball rolling.
Is there alcohol in this?
Oh, God, honey, no. What kind of mother do you think I am? Why do you want a little bit? Because if you're going to drink, I'd rather you do it in the house.
Make it Suntory time.
So sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better.
Okay, perfect. All I was saying was you are the most considerate guest I've ever had in my lifetime, and thank you so much. He was so cute. He was like just waiting for the right moment, and it's very kind of you. Welcome so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm glad we could finally make this happen.
Yes, yes. And you're like kind of like the perfect person to have on because I know you've seen a lot of the films that were nominated at the Golden Globes. And we're not going to talk just Golden Globes talk, but it is great to have someone that has seen a lot of those films. So before we start though, anything, I'd love for you to like introduce yourself to the chat, let them know a little bit about you and your channel, and everyone in the chat subscribe to Tyler if you haven't already. His videos are fantastic.
Okay, so from like 2016 to right before the beginning of last year, I kind of was just doing what everybody else did, just sit in front of a camera, say what I thought about the movie. Once in a while, there'd be a picture or a video to kind of spruce things up. But there was a point where I just started getting bored of it. And I remembered back in 2018 when I had a really bad cough that I couldn't like complete sentences. So I decided to review them in the form of silent movies. And for a while, I kept that as my shtick just because it was more fun and you can review them in just as about as much time. And in 2023, there was a movie called Infinity Pool where I couldn't review it with words because it was so bizarre and unpredictable, and you really couldn't review it without spoiling shit in one or two sentences. And then I just got into the groove of things. And there were moments in other videos where, like, blonde was black and white in color, different aspect ratios. I wanted to switch that around because, like, you could visually talk about what was so great about that movie and people could get an idea of what to expect. So from that point on, I've really been kind of alternating and coming up with different ways to articulate my thoughts. Like I could be sitting in a computer typing out like my script, and then it'll cut to me like in the theater imagining my reaction to a movie, or just as many people, if you're familiar to my channel, have noticed, I stand in front of a green screen and reenact scenes to the best of my ability, which I guess got a kick out of you when I did my Beau's Afraid review.
Oh my God. Yeah. If anyone in the chat hasn't seen it, go and watch Tyler's Beau is Afraid review. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
And you know for a fact, because she actually sent me a 30-second video message just saying how much I killed it, which never gotten anything like that before. That was really touching to hear.
When you added the DuckTales characters from the new one at the kitchen table, like I was losing it.
I try and incorporate those as much as I can because I have those two exact characters tattooed on each my arm. But yeah, for whatever reason, I couldn't think of a better way to say like how characters can switch from good to evil, and somehow I found a way to make that work. I'm still not entirely sure how I did that, but little notes like yours were a sign that I was on to something, and I've kept up with it ever since. And lately, per Dark Hour's suggestion, a fellow reviewer of ours, I've started doing more shorts, and surprisingly, that's gotten me a considerable amount of attention that I never thought I would get. And I didn't think I'd want to, because like their shorts are less than a minute. How long are people really going to stay around? And my last video got an audience percentage of over 100%, which I didn't even know you could do. So
Wow.
yeah, that was I still can't believe that. And I'm just expecting the stats to like go, oh, did we say that? We meant this.
No, that's amazing. And I mean, I love that you do that because I give anyone that does shorts like so much props because it is so much work for the shortest video ever, you know?
Yeah, that was something I did not expect going in, because like the last short that I did that got like 7,000 views, I just sat there and went, okay, well, this is gonna take me less than 30 seconds to record, maybe an hour or so to review to edit, and that was technically what happened, but I didn't realize how much time I was going to spend on certain things because I incorporate a lot of stuff in order to get people's attention. There are like the fake whip pans, there are the filters that I had never worked with before, and I'm actually surprised people could see on the camera because I'm just sitting there going, you know what, this is going to be blown up on their phone. Are they really going to see all these posters?
Yeah. And I wanted to know, do you edit on your phone or do you use your computer to edit shorts?
No, I did use my computer just because I have better software. Like for the longest time I've been using Final Cut Pro X, and it's
Nice.
been relatively good. It's slower than I would have liked, and now that I'm actively looking at freelance editing gigs, a lot of them have been asking for Premiere Pro as their primary example, and having worked with it for 5 minutes, I can honestly see why. It's a little bit more streamlined.
Well, I mean, I have to say, I feel you when it comes to editing on a computer. Like, I don't understand. If I feel like if someone, this is gonna make me sound old, but like super young kids, they're so used to editing everything on their phones, and I can't do it. It drives me insane, and it makes me so frustrated.
Yeah, see, for the first 3 years that I was editing, I filmed everything on my iPad, and then I would go right into the iMovie app that was on there. I remember it being such a big fucking deal that it cost me like $5-6 just to get that software. And I was a bit of a cheapskate. I could have afforded better stuff, but you know, what are you gonna do?
Well, I'm gonna get to the chat a little bit, and then we're gonna do some other topics that we're gonna talk about. Max is saying hi, Sub Tyler, you're awesome. Horsetooth Cinema says, I love that particular Kill Bill poster, Tyler.
That is a first edition that my frequent collaborator Josh gave me because he works at the local art house feeder in my city. And as a side hustle, they actually sell movie posters in their lobby, which 90% of the posters that you see back there, I got from that one feeder. In fact, during the pandemic, they were actually doing digital auctions all around the world to sell those posters to keep the theater afloat. And long story short, somebody bid $800 for Richard Linklater's Waking Life poster.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's wild. I love movie posters.
Yeah, it was really something. I kind of view these movie posters just like portraits or whatever still pictures that you hang on your wall. And I've talked about this once or twice, but very specific posters sometimes like tell you what the movie's about before you see it. It's actually pretty clever.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. We got Dell, love Dell. He says, Sup Tyler. Laren, hey Tyler.
think we chatted once or twice in here.
Probably, I'm sure. Yeah. Horseshoe Cinema says, I'm going to need to pull up this Beau is Afraid review, LOL, for the paint scene alone.
I have a variation of that. I don't really talk about it in great detail, but like I did like running through the glass door as best as I possibly could because
Yeah.
that was maybe the one scene in that movie that I laughed so hard at because for starters, it was so intense that like just laughing at it was a sigh of relief. And second, Joaquin Phoenix is that fucking crazy that he'll actually do the stunt in one take. That was at least I think it was one take. It looked like the camera actually followed him through the broken door.
It did. Yeah, it definitely did. Hello, Josh from Through the Lens. Nice for you to stop by. He says, I use Premiere Pro and find it pretty easy. Edited during my film diploma, but only learned everything I know now after the course ended. I'm
Well,
sure.
I'm glad to hear you say that because some people have been like talking me into taking classes or courses, and I'm just sitting there going, well, I can pay to learn some of the stuff that I can find out about on my own, or I could like in my case with Dark Hour, get paid to learn some of these stuff on my own.
Yeah, and even on, I mean, YouTube is like the best tool for education about so many different things. And like anytime I'm editing something and I'm like, oh, like I don't know if I could do something like this, and then I look it up, it's just like instructions on how to do it. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, you
I
just
mean,
use the will.
as long as you find the right videos, because some of them can be a little slow or just stupid.
Totally, totally. I knew nothing about editing before starting YouTube. Now I know barely more than nothing and feel good about it.
That's a starting point. So keep at it, and you'll feel like an expert later on.
Yeah. Horsetooth wants to know what the best movie poster is in your opinion.
Oh man, that's a really excellent question because there's the question of what's the best looking or what's one that you can like pick apart like an actual painting. Like the best one I can think of right off the top of my head, one of my favorite. It's funny you were talking about The Boy and the Heron. One of my favorite Studio Ghibli movies. I was looking for years to find the poster for this one called When Marnie Was There, and just last year I found it. I can't even remember what website it was. Maybe it was eBay or some other knockoff, but it's a really simple but beautiful poster where the two characters are on this beach together. And if I were to explain what made it so great and what made it so beautiful, there'd be some spoilers because it's a little bit of a mystery movie compared to most Ghibli movies. But I could stare at that thing as well as the Wind Rises poster that's literally in front of my laptop right now. They just have this really nice bright blue shade that that just makes Ghibli movies look so good because they're kind of obsessed with the color blue.
As you drink a can that has blue on it, that was like perfect.
That was a coincidence. I only drink this because like Coke makes me like it doesn't go down very well.
Love my Jaws movie poster. Great memories going there as a kid in the summer. Yeah, Jaws is a great poster. I would say that too.
Yeah, for sure.
Rewatched Blackberry for the 5th time, and I adore it even more with rewatches. Did you like it? I still haven't seen it yet. Have you?
Yeah. One of the big things, and a lot of people are going to be really surprised by this. It's funny that Delon Movies said product placement as the next one because no joke, I'm from the very city that BlackBerry was created. In fact, there are quite a few like background settings or streets that look the exact same today as they do now. It was really wild seeing that at a movie theater. And
Wow.
the performances were good. Jay Baruchel's his usual self. Glenn Howerton from It's Always Sunny was like spot on. I had no idea that he could do a performance like that. And from what I could tell, the makeup department actually got him down to a T. My only real issue with BlackBerry was that, like, if you've seen Social Network or Tetris or any other movie like that, you've kind of seen it before, and there's really no element of surprise in that way.
Right. I think it's kind of like if the movie doesn't completely suck, then it's probably a good telling of that story. It's like they're called like I like to call them like business movies, you know.
That works.
Like if you think of a genre, it's like or like, you know, there's a bunch of other ones like the corporate movie, but yeah. So actually, he was someone from Always Sunny in Philadelphia that people were really championing to get a nomination of some sorts. Do you think like it's not going to happen now? Clearly, because I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. He might get a SAG nomination, maybe. But what do you
I could
think?
see, I
Yeah,
could see that working.
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have complained if he had gotten so much of a Golden Globe nomination, so much as an
Mhm.
Oscar one, mainly just because, like, dude's a complete and utter clown. He's one of those comedic actors who's usually always in character, and normally that gets on my nerves, but something about him just makes what a snarky douche he is just seem so likable. And it's something that he carried over with Blackberry, because he's technically played characters like that before. It just played up for laughs, but not so stoic and bitch face, because apparently Jim Balsillie really is like hard of smiling half the time.
Well, because you brought up Bo is afraid. Well, we all kind of brought up Bo is afraid. I guess we always have to if Tyler is involved. But did you watch the Golden Globes?
I did not, mainly because the last pretty much any award show the past few years just has gotten under my nerves, whether I think that too many people like got snubbed, or the host I think is just not the worst, just not as funny as they used to be. And because of, this is going to sound weird, but how politicized nominees have gotten lately, to the point where I know for a fact there's some movies that I loved and I think had a shot that probably may not get considered, or they'll get like the short end of the stick.
Right. Well, I brought that up just because because Joaquin Phoenix and Nicolas Cage and Jared Leto all sat at a table together, and it's like the craziest craziest combination, you know.
I can only imagine what that must have been like, where you just sit there and go, "So, Jared, how have you been? Is it still Morbin time tonight?"
Oh my god. Yeah. So obviously it's cool that I totally get where you're coming from of why you didn't watch. As far as the nominations though, have you heard about any of the winners?
I've seen a few. My discovery that Paul Giamatti won for The Holdovers, which that was pretty cool, and he definitely deserved that. I actually was at the premiere for The Holdovers when it premiered at TIFF in September.
That's awesome. I really liked that film.
It was really good, and I saw it on New Year's about a week ago, and it actually did get a little bit better. It was not the greatest premiere, just because the strikes were still going on, and because Alexander Payne was just director, he was the only one allowed to show up. But he gave a nice intro. He was sweet during the Q&A, and I found out Paul Giamatti won Best Actor because of a tweet of him holding the statue in front of an In-N-Out.
Yes. Yeah. They're like starving after that stuff, and they need first of all, so the Golden Globes are notorious for like everyone getting hammered because they just have bottles of alcohol on every table. It's very different than the Oscars.
That
And
part I've
when I
noticed.
heard, well, the food that they served sushi, and they had Nobu cater, and it's like sushi is not the best if you're going to be drinking for 5 hours.
I find that weird, because my introduction to Joe Coy was when he was on Bobby Flay to produce his Easter movie, and I'm just sitting there going, "What? You couldn't pull any favors on that one?"
Oh yeah, true. And like I will say, I think Joe Coy's monologue was not good. I've talked about this earlier. But it is weird that he only had like 10 days when usually, like Jimmy Kimmel's known for months now that he's going to be hosting the Oscars, and Jimmy Kimmel did like an excellent job last year. I think actually that last year's Oscars was like one of the best produced award shows I've seen in a very long time, and it felt like the ones from like the 90s. Like it felt really really good. So I'm
Okay.
excited for that. Um,
That's an interesting way to put it, because I don't always watch the award shows for the production value of things, but I mean, obviously that's essential.
I mean, like hosts and like the writing for the presenters.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
things
yeah,
like
for
that.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, part of what made the Oscars such big hits every year was that usually they had the same people writing it. There was this one guy, Bruce Valanche, who was the head writer for 20 plus years. I think he only retired after the Anne Hathaway James Franco incident, which
Oh my god.
can't say I blame him for that, because
No.
Wow.
Yeah, that goes down in the worst hosts of all time for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, if anyone gives Joe Coy like too much trouble, just remember that James Franco took a nap while his grandma was in the audience staring at Marky Mark.
Oh my god. Yeah. And yeah, it's I really I think I wouldn't have defended Joe Coy now if I hadn't seen his stand up in the past, and his stand up's really good. So I think like that's kind of why I'm like okay, like but then in the same stance like he said that like Chris Rock called him to help him with like prepare, and it's like if you're a successful comedian and you have to host this event in 10 days. I know it's really short. I would have just like called like all my like writer friends that I know are really good and just like pay them something just to like come up with like to get me through the 3 hour show,
I just want to know why Chris Rock and 4 other people said no to this, which is I find really interesting. Like Rock, I think is the only person we know for sure said no, but chances are Gervais probably wouldn't have been considered because I think he was nominated for his last
He
Netflix
won.
special.
Gervais won and he didn't show up. So
I'll just pretend to be surprised by that.
yeah, no, he won. Yeah, it's so odd. I feel like maybe Chris Rock just needed a break from awards shows for a bit because of what happened with Will Smith. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. He's made quite a bit of money off the aftermath. In
That's
case
true.
didn't he get nominated for his like I don't know? He did a live special for Netflix or something like that.
Yeah, that was a new category this year for the Globes. It was best stand-up performance, and this is actually one of the things that I don't really agree with what they did, which is fine. But usually, especially at the Oscars and stuff, you want to see clips of like the actors' performances and like a little bit of like the screenplay and things like that. They didn't show clips at all for anyone except for the stand-up performance, and they did it for the that new category, the critical box office one. And they showed like really long clips of those movies. And I just feel like they're kind of out of touch where it's like, oh, well, we're just trying
Yeah,
to
help me
yeah.
help me out with this one. Is it basically just what the best popular Oscar category was supposed to be, just dumber?
Yeah. I think that if they didn't have both of those words in the category, it would make more sense. It was either like it was box office and cinematic achievement. And to me, like that's just so confusing. Like what is he like because obviously Barbie would have won regardless. It did win. It's the only
Well,
thing that won.
of course, because like that and
Yeah.
Oppenheimer were the movies to prove, hey, like movie theaters are not completely fucked at this point.
Mhm.
Which,
That's yeah.
yeah,
If they wanted it to actually be a category, I wouldn't have even have had Barbie and Oppenheimer in there. I feel like it's like too obvious or something. I don't know. I think they need to rework what that category means in the future if they want to do like a popular vote. I think that's fine. But
I wouldn't have put Eras Tour in there, but I think I'm a little biased on that already. So.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a guy who like wants to see a concert movie next week anyways, so
Oh,
jokes
what are
kind
you
of
going to see?
there. So I guess every 5 or 10 years, and I think this might be a Canadian thing because I keep asking everybody and they're not getting it. For 4 days only, they're going to be playing a recording of Queen at Montreal that was filmed or it was rendered in IMAX at the very least. It's only a 4-night event, and
Wow.
just at the theater by my house, like tickets are through the roof. Everybody wants to check this out.
That is so cool. Yeah, that sounds awesome. I have no issue with concerts going to theaters. I think it makes things more accessible to people and even like especially you're seeing like a retro concert. Like that's fantastic. I love that idea.
Yeah, there was one I wanted to check out in 2023 where Beyonce apparently had a concert movie out, and whenever she does like a compilation or a visual album, they are beyond like trippy and
Yeah.
surreal. And because it's Beyonce, she's allowed to be an artsy director, but she's got a specific look to it, and I really liked it.
The biggest problem with hers, and I've talked about this on this channel so much, was the post. I feel like the poster and marketing for hers, comparatively speaking to Taylor Swift's, was so stupid. Like the poster, you can't even tell Beyonce's on it. Her
No.
name's really small. Taylor Swift was like a great poster if you're gonna showcase that.
But also that's kind of a problem with last year in regards to movies. Like marketing just seemed to be non-existent altogether. A lot of people, whenever they ask like, why was 2023 such a bad year for movies, they list off all this stuff like, oh, it's the writing, it's the identity politics, it's the constant adaptations, and those are all factors, but you gotta pay people to actually like put commercials on
Yeah.
TV. You
Yeah.
can't just tweet out that a movie's coming out. You can't just have one guy show up on Hot Ones where they ask you like one or two questions about the movie, and then all the great questions are about that one particular person that like make you like them, but not enough to go see the fucking movie.
It's 100%. I wanted to ask. This is actually really gonna be fun, actually. I think because you didn't watch the Globes, I'm sure you know some of the winners. But I'd love to know. Like, first of all, did you see the movie Poor Things yet? Have you seen it?
I did not because, like I said, my one buddy works at the theater, and as per his job, he has to screen the movies to make sure that the copies of them work. And he and I can mutually agree that Yorgos Lanthimos just isn't really our thing. And I'm just sitting there going, well, is it like Lobster or Sacred Deer where everybody's stoic, or is it The Favorite where people have emotions? And in his opinion, it was more on the lines of like his earlier stuff that made people appreciate him. And that's I totally understand why people enjoy it, and there were definitely things I would have liked about it if I saw it. I mean, the production value, the set and costume design looked fucking unreal.
Yeah.
And whoever wrote the book, I can't imagine that that's how they envisioned it when they wrote it. But yeah, the dry acting just it doesn't really do it for me.
I will say I think it's his least dry movie. I will say because I didn't like The Lobster. I mean I need to rewatch it, but I didn't love it. I did like The Favorite though a lot. But this to me this is like to me Yorgos's best film, and I think that it's so funny, like it's so comedy forward, and I think that's also why it works really well. I can't wait to hear what your thoughts are on that because I was going to say, what do you if you think Lily Gladstone or Emma Stone's going to win the Oscar, but because they're kind of the front runners at this point.
From what I've seen, it could be a fair match. I might lose a fair bit of people here, but while I don't think Lily Gladstone was a bad actress in Flower Moon, I didn't really think the script gave her that much to give a good performance. I say it in my video and I'll say it again. Like, she spends a good chunk of the time doing the exact same scene over and over again where she's lying in bed sick and just pitying herself for the situation she's in. And don't get me wrong, it's a shitty situation that like someone actually went through.
Yeah.
Like, I realize that it's a real person, but that's not enough for me to make it profound or anything like that. That moment where she goes to Congress and says, like, we're kind of getting killed over here. We could use her help. I wanted more of that. And it felt like 30 seconds in what was a 3.5-hour movie. And I'm just sitting there going, okay, that was her in her prime. That was the last great thing that she could do. Wouldn't you want to emphasize that?
Yes, and this is where it comes into, her role probably should be best supporting actress and not best actress.
Yeah, I'll agree on that.
However, and then I'm torn though because I really loved Divine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers, and I love that she won. So it is strange. I think they wanted the nomination for Lily for Best Actress because of the importance of the first time a Native American's getting a nomination.
Yeah.
But I think that if you were to compare the two performances, I mean, Emma Stone is the entire movie of Poor Things, like 100%. And like I've never seen someone like
and
she's
it's unlike anything she's done before.
What?
It's unlike anything she's done before. I mean, she worked with Yorgos on The Favorite, and she was really good in it, but this is completely out of the ordinary for her. And I like that she's continuing her collaboration with Yorgos. I think they did like a silent short that was only screened at Con. Yeah, and I really want to see that because apparently it's like 40 some minutes, and I'm just sitting there going, bring it here. Like I'll take it.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I'm gonna just jump to the chat real quick, and then we're gonna get into more questions. Here we are. Glenn Howerton was great in Crank. I still haven't seen it, but
me neither. That came out when I was way too young to watch anything Jason Statham.
Yeah. The combination of raw fish and heavy drinking is only for true warriors. Yeah, it's just not enough sustenance for drinking that much. That box office is the award. Yeah, 1.7 billion is its own reward. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, totally. Doesn't make any sense. Best thing from the Globes is the Selena meme. I don't know if you've seen this on Twitter. I don't know. You're on Twitter, right, Tyler, or you're not?
Mainly just to plug my stuff, not so much to actually
Okay.
engage with people, because well, we all know why.
Well, the Twitter meme is essentially like I guess during the Globes, Selena Gomez went up to Taylor Swift and she's like going on and on and on, spilling the tea about something that I think some person got the audio and we now know what it was about. And then you see Taylor Swift like look at her in awe, like, oh my God. So everyone is kind of like writing their own thing on top of it to like, and it's very funny actually. But yeah, that's kind of what that turned into.
Okay, then.
I didn't like the
I'm
loss of that.
assuming
What?
I'm assuming it was Selena connecting her with someone to assassinate Joe Coy for whatever joke he made about her.
Oh, no, apparently it was the fact that, I guess Selena Gomez wanted to take a photo with Timothée Chalamet, but Timothée Chalamet's girlfriend's a Kardashian, and I don't remember which one, and the
Yeah,
Kardashian
that
said
I
no.
just found out yesterday, and wow, I thought he was a smart guy, but
I know. Yeah, she wouldn't let Selena Gomez take a photo with Timothée Chalamet, which is like the dumbest thing ever. I think so that like that's the whole thing. She's like, "Oh my God, like I went over there, just want to take a photo." And she said no. like
don't
this
get me wrong, I like Timothy as an actor still, but wow, it's a good thing you
he's
don't
young.
judge. It's a good thing you don't judge actors for their actual
Yeah.
brains.
And he's so young. Like I'm sure he's just like fascinated that he can even, I mean, it's all so still new to him, I feel like. We'll see in 10 years and then he'll pull a Leo and then once they hit 25, they got to go.
Oh God.
Exactly what Tyler said about the lack of real marketing is why I highly doubt studios are spending as much on marketing as they say they are. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, that hashtag really does make me wonder what the fuck they are spending it on.
Yeah. Poor Things is very funny. I mentioned in my review that it's basically if an RTR filmmaker, auteur, I think that's probably what he said, filmmaker rewrote and directed Frankenhooker. I don't know what Frankenhooker is.
That sounds like something Josh would try to make me watch on a rainy night or something like that.
Yeah. Hello, Alex Plays. Thanks so much for joining us today. What do you think is the best movie of 2023? I'm going to ask you this question.
Well, the movie I had the most amount of fun last year was surprisingly Wonka, which happened to be the very last movie I saw in 2023. I did not think it was going to be anywhere on my top 10, let alone like the most fun I had. But yeah, it's just an old-fashioned musical that knew exactly how to do it right. Like it had great choreography, it had great songs, it had great singing, which was something I was not expecting. I thought Timothy was going to be a tad bit auto-tuned, but no, he actually sounded pretty good. And other people like Hugh Grant and Keegan-Michael Key, who I thought couldn't pull off any high notes, surprisingly also did their songs with a hell of a lot. And more importantly, it's a musical that just is whimsical. It is magical. There are so many moments that just had me smiling ear to ear. That bit in the trailer where they're flying across London with the balloons in her hand. Like that was just, it was so sweet. And when they do Pure Imagination at the very end, like
Yeah.
I teared up.
Yeah.
Because, and full disclosure, I didn't grow up with the Gene Wilder one. I saw the Johnny Depp one once when it came out, mostly because it was my sister's birthday and like her and a bunch of friends
Yeah.
saw it. But yeah, that's really about as much as I know about the source material, which is also great. It stands on its own, which is something you don't get very often anymore.
Yeah, I have to say I think and I think you're referring to that number that was my favorite musical number. I think one, well, at least the top 2 or 3, the duet that he has with oh my God, what is her character's name again?
Noodle.
Noodle, thank you. Yeah, I loved that musical number. It was just so beautifully shot and like that was a standout for me for sure from that film.
Those lyrics hit hard too. Like I forgot to be cynical. I forgot to like take a step back, I think was what she was singing about. And I'm just sitting there going, no, yeah, every single day.
Yes. Yeah. No, there were some. I think that the director, the Paddington films. I've only seen the first Paddington one, but he brought magic to something that like could have just been stupid. And I think that, um, there are aspects of him in there that are, some people are concerned, and like I was kind of concerned that like the whole time I'm just going to be thinking about the Gene Wilder one, which I kind of was because I love the Gene Wilder one so much. But after I saw the film, I was like, okay, this is like a prequel to that one, like the Gene Wilder one. I think we're just all ignoring that the Johnny Depp one exists. But they're gonna do a sequel. They're gonna do another one, I'm sure, to get him, because you're gonna need Charlie at a certain point. So they're gonna need Timothy Chalamet to be a little older and find the right person to take over the chocolate factory. But yeah, Paul King, I think, knows what he's doing absolutely as a director. And then Alex
Surprisingly,
plays.
very surprising. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You go.
And surprisingly meticulous for a filmmaker of like stuff you wouldn't expect. You wouldn't expect family movies or musicals to be so well plotted out in terms of the camera work and everything like that. Because I've seen snippets of Paddington 2, and I'm just sitting there going, holy shit, this actually has effort put into it.
Yeah.
My only frame of reference with Paddington was some 90s cartoon that was out like on reruns when I was a kid, but that was my full extent. So when I heard that it was being adapted back when Colin Firth was supposed to be Paddington, I'm just sitting there going, what?
Right.
And then everybody loved it, and I just sat there and I went, oh, okay.
Absolutely. It's a really nice film. And then Alex, just for my favorites of the year, I'm gonna go with I'll just go with Past Lives and Poor Things, the two P's, and then again, the holdovers. I love Anatomy of a Fall, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer. The ones that a lot of people are talking about. They're not wrong in that sense. I have not seen The Zone of Interest though, and I'm still see that. We've got Peggy watching. Thank you so much for joining us, Peggy. Huzzah, Peggy and Dad. Yeah, those are
oh, okay.
Friends of the family here. Frankenhooker is an amazing 80s schlock.
Okay, so that's exactly what Josh would recommend to me.
Yeah. So in a tour doing Frankenhooker is what he said. Wonka 2 chocolate goo could be amazing. Oh, you're saying that should be the title of the name, Wonka 2 chocolate goo? Yeah.
No studio's going to agree to that.
Right. No. So I know that again, you haven't seen it. I'm just curious from a screenplay standpoint. So Anatomy of a Fall won last night. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see it? Okay.
No, I missed the opportunity when it came to that one art house theater. But yeah, as you pointed out, heard nothing but glowing things.
Yes. So take that win aside, and what screenplay do you think maybe stood out for you the most this year that you would want it to win?
God, that's where it really gets tricky on this one.
It does.
Yeah, because there's so many movies where everybody's been praising the writing this year, especially, and I'm just sitting there going, well, yeah, it's good, but nothing really grabbing me all that much lately in regards to screenplays. Like everything that I've loved this year, it has mostly come down to the presentation and the execution.
Yeah.
Mostly because so many movies, and you saw my top 10 list, so many of these movies you've seen done before, but just done slightly different or better in one way.
Right.
That being said, I would maybe from an adapted screenplay perspective, I would actually be pretty psyched if Godzilla -1 got a nomination, because what worked so well about it, that movie in general, was that you had great human characters who were worth following. And they found a way to make Godzilla like the metaphor of whatever it is that they were struggling with in life. And that's really what makes the best monster movies. The director flat out said that he was inspired by like Jaws and Close Encounters when he set out to make this. And honestly, just watching it from like the screenplay to the way it's shot and acted, it did kind of feel like a Spielberg movie in a weird way.
It did. I actually 100% agree with you on that. And I could see Spielberg being an influence um for sure with Godzilla minus one. Yeah, I cried so much during that movie. I did not expect to do that.
Yeah, I came like this close to tearing up at the very end of the film, like
Mm,
when there's that discovery about the one
yeah.
character.
Yeah, because and I don't know if it's because it's a foreign film that you just assume like they're just gonna it's gonna be brutal and like certain people are not coming back and you just have to deal with it because like that was the whole I'm no spoilers but like there's a sacrifice that I want to just put in quotes here and I was just like well they're brutal and it's they're just gonna do that and then at the end it was like oh it was like this like sigh of relief like we felt the same that the main character felt you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's been a while since I've been rooting for that many people, and it's weird that I can remember as many characters as I did. Because like I remember the one pilot, I remember the fishing captain and his
Yeah,
dopey little sidekick, the scientist director, like maybe my favorite character in the whole
loved
movie.
him.
He was so serious, and he always had one plan in motion. And if he didn't, he's just sitting there going, "You want to take over my job? Like, go right ahead."
Yeah. Yeah. Dementia and Scott, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm here with the incredible Tyler Wolf. Alex plays. Did y'all like Oppenheimer or Killers of the Flower Moon better? I don't know if you want to take this one.
I enjoyed Killers of the Flower Moon a little bit better just because I felt like the characters were easier to follow, and I felt that for the amount of times that Scorsese has told this exact story before, it still felt entertaining.
Yeah.
And for a movie that was technically longer than Oppenheimer, it actually didn't feel like it, in my opinion. I enjoyed
Right.
Oppenheimer, but like so many people came and went that weren't Killian Murphy or Matt Damon or whoever that never mind that I can't remember their damn names or anything like that, but the other problem is script wise, Oppenheimer for me is just like explanation after explanation after explanation. And most of them were good because of the acting, but I'm not a physics major, so I obviously
Right.
can't speak for everything else.
That's the thing. Nolan, I feel like, is a very sterile filmmaker, and like everything's going to be like precision wise, execution wise, like perfect, you know. But I felt that I've always felt emotionally, he's not he's not as complex when he doesn't get the same performances out of his actors that you get in other films. Or at least the writing doesn't lend itself for these actors to do that. Where I felt like Killers of the Flower Moon, I felt like it was just hitting you in the gut like the whole film in a way where you really connected to everyone in the film. Does that make sense?
It does, because like I understood Leo's plight. I found De Niro like it's nice that he actually plays a De Niro type character for once because he's
Yeah.
been sorely lacking lately.
Uh-huh.
Tantu Cardinal as Gladstone's mom, in my opinion, was the best character
Oh,
because like
yeah.
just that death stare of hers was just
Mm.
perfect. Would have liked Brendan Fraser a lot more because they give him like what 3 lines or something like that.
I thought he was so over the top too. That was the one sore
That I didn't
moment.
care about
Yeah.
because I mean he's a defense lawyer. He was gonna be that loud in particular, but and I'm just remembering fucking John Lithgow was like the prosecutor in that, and he did a good job.
Yeah. Yeah, the Brendan Fraser performance was surprising. I know that was a big topic when it came out because obviously he just won the Oscar for The Whale. And then he had this kind of like overacting moment. Like to me it was incredibly overacted. And I don't know where the miscommunication went on during filming, but it really
I
stuck
don't
out
I
a
don't
lot.
know if there was a miscommunication though, because his character was for me basically the exact same as Ray Romano's character in The Irishman. And I
Mm,
mean, to Romano's
okay.
and here's the thing. Romano's a good dramatic actor. I didn't have a problem with him other than the fact that even though he's technically in The Irishman a lot more, I think they gave him less to do compared to Fraser. Because like Fraser at least had a moment. Romano's character, I couldn't tell you like what made him a good lawyer or what he actually did for the crime family.
Right.
It just seemed as a show that he could do good dramatic work because he does get screwed over quite a bit with that stuff. But I mean, and of course, everybody just pictures him as like Ray Barone,
Right.
which is a shame because like he is a lot more talented than that.
He is. I absolutely agree with that. A question. I don't know this film. When Evil Lurks, did you see it?
No, but I know what movie Horsetooth's talking about.
Okay.
I just saw that picture of like her holding the axe to her face. Like that's the poster of this Shudder movie.
Okay.
And like the poster is just drenched in all red. Like it really, from what I've heard, it really lives up to the title. But I don't have Shudder. I got it to a point so I could watch like Skinamarink, and then I got the Blu-ray for that, and it just seemed kind of obsolete because a lot of Shudder stuff is just not my kind of horror.
Okay. Yeah, I still haven't seen Skinamarink. I know that's on your top 10 list. I definitely need to check it out. If this Godzilla movie is that good as you say, then I hope it gets a physical release. I just haven't had time to see movies right now. I'm sure it will.
It will.
Yeah.
I mean, if Parasite and I don't know if RRR got a physical release around where you live. I didn't get one. I didn't get so much as a theatrical release, but
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I think it's gonna get one. I would be pretty surprised.
I'm more concerned about Minus Color getting a release here in North America because that would be really cool.
What's that?
It is a black and white restoration of Godzilla -1 that they just put out or they're going to put out in Japan like a few days from now.
Wow.
Kind of like what they did with Logan or with Parasite, which I actually own Logan on black and white, and it looks a hell of a lot better.
Wow. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, it comes with a Blu-ray listed as Logan Noir, I believe is like the second disc that it comes with.
That's really cool. I think Godzilla -1 that would work really well in black and white. Godzilla -1 is so good, just barely didn't put it on my top 10, but I kind of wish I did. Yeah, I can understand that. A lot of people feel that way, for sure. Found out -1 means what if Godzilla emerged before the 50s, so in the post-war 40s. Huh.
Oh, okay. Like I heard we went from 0 to -1, but like I still didn't get that. I thought it was like some wartime saying.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. That's really interesting. Yeah, on a timeline scale. That's very interesting.
That makes more sense, yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll discover a cool gem on Shudder, but in general, I agree their originals aren't always the best.
Yeah, their acquisitions just felt a hell of a lot better. I think there was some like weird gothic drama called What Josiah Saw that Brad Jones was a real big fan of, but it was only on Shudder, which was weird because it had people like Robert Patrick, Tony Hale, and was apparently pretty fucked up to the point where it was debatable if it was a horror or a drama. But yeah, other than that one, I haven't really been that keen on getting Shudder.
Yeah. Any thoughts on the official release date of Sony movies that comes with Venom 3 and others?
You're talking to a guy who skipped Venom and all those spinoffs. I had to sit through the Madam Web trailer quite a few times already, and
it's bad.
Yeah, it's terrible. I could have edited that for much less.
I think probably the question that everyone is trying to figure out is if Spider-Man will be in Venom 3, which who knows. I have to get rid of a troll, so I'm so sorry. I don't know how to say.
I saw those comments before I even got in here.
You're just copying and pasting,
and swapping out a picture too. That's
yeah. Okay, got rid of the troll.
Not the first time, unfortunately.
That's an odd way to troll, though. You just copy what everyone else said and post it. Have you ever seen that before?
That actually happened to me a few days ago on my best of list.
Really?
Yeah, so somebody, I guess, was really pissed off that I put Dead Reckoning on my best of list. Basically for like the main problem that you had with the film, the way that basically the fact that Elsa died or how she died to begin with. I don't think I'm giving that away in this
No.
stream. Like, I feel like most of you have already seen it. But the way he said it, how like he said, and I quote, died like a chicken and her corpse on the Venice Bridge. And I'm just sitting there going, I'm sorry, you're a fan of this character, right? Like, and he put up this, we've loved her for 8 years. And I'm just sitting there going, okay, this is the third movie in like those 8 years. Like, get a grip. and in those other two movies, like Ilsa is probably my favorite character too. And I hate that she died, but like that's kind of the idea. Like, you're supposed to feel bad when someone dies in an action movie because there are actual stakes and the villain is a legitimate threat. And I literally typed out, if you think going out in a hell of a fight, in my opinion, anyways, to sacrifice herself for her team, for the mission, for the greater good is dying like a chicken, maybe you didn't appreciate her enough. And when I posted that, about a couple hours later, the comment had been deleted, and that asshole put up the exact same comment, but took out the died like a chicken part to make himself look good.
Oh my God.
But there's a really fun twist to this. I had posted a picture of his original comment and my reply to Dark Hour's messaging group. So I knew for a fact what it had been said verbatim. I knew for a fact what had been switched. And I also knew what my reply was. So I literally just typed out my same reply, but added in brackets. I know for a fact that's what you said, and I'm going to make everybody clear that's what you said.
Yeah.
Comment got deleted again. Haven't heard from him since.
That's
It
good.
was beautiful.
You got to show receipts on taking screenshots and stuff. Yeah, absolutely. That'll shut people up for sure. Everyone's kind of commenting about the troll. What else did you see at TIFF this year, Tyler? You mentioned the holdovers. I'm going to be right back, actually, so BRB.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I guess I shouldn't be surprised by that. It's not the first time Tracy's had to leave for an errand or two. But yeah, TIFF 2023 was interesting because there weren't as many movies, in my opinion, that I wanted to check out. And without getting into specifics, because there's some personal details, the trip itself just wasn't that great. My Airbnb was a little rough, and my one friend who was supposed to show up only showed for the first movie because some other shit had come up. But I should probably answer the question. The first movie I saw was this Bollywood action movie called Kill, which really lives up to the title. It is being advertised as the bloodiest Bollywood movie ever made, and to be honest, they're not kidding. Kill is basically like the Raid Redemption, where the movie's an entire fight scene, but there are moments of, I guess you could call it character development. The story itself is pretty simple. This army commando is eloping with his fiance, and then bandits hijack this train. And it is just excuse after excuse to have really insane knife fights or take whatever props you can and just kill people in such a gory, violent, over-the-top way. There was a scene involving alcohol and a lighter that everybody just cheered like hell. And it was such a great crowd. Maybe the best crowd I've had during TIFF, because everybody was just having such a blast with Kill. I think I told you once or twice about that one.
Yes. Yeah. So sorry, 1 second. What was
you're good.
Yeah. Did you did see, yeah, he did see the holdovers, and you saw, what was the last film though, that just the name of it really quickly?
The last one was called Robot Dreams, which was on the top of my list because it's a French/Spanish animated silent movie. And that was like a huge draw for me because I love 2D animation and I like when there are modern silent movies. I actually chronicled 5 or 6 leading up to A Quiet Place when it first came out. So I would talk about like Studio Ghibli's The Red Turtle, this Brazilian movie called The Boy in the World that is absolutely beautiful, or a Ukrainian sign language crime thriller called The Tribe that is extremely fucked up and brutal, but really worth the watch.
Wow.
Worth one watch because it's very bleak. But Robot Dreams was a really good time, and the highlight for that one was I was the first Q&A question for the director on that night, and that was a really, really cool experience. The director, Pablo Berger, was an extremely nice guy. It was actually his second silent movie. His directorial debut was, I guess, some black and white bullfighting version of Snow White that I still haven't checked out, but
wow.
Gives me something to check out instead of the Disney version for sure. But anyways,
Yes. I think we all feel that way, that's for sure. Dimension Scott, yes, Abby is now the girl from No One Will Save You, I believe. Um, I liked No One Will Save You, but what did you see No One Will Save You?
I had a list of stuff I wanted to check out, and then when work got hell, I never really had time to check out even half those movies. But I know who she is. I know her as like Beanie Feldstein's best friend on Booksmart.
Oh, okay.
I think she's the gay girl that like has a crush on this straight girl or something like that. But at least I think, yeah, because Feldstein was somebody else. But she's a good actress. I know shit about The Last of Us games. Like I've seen a few episodes of the show and I liked what I saw. It wasn't like the best television of the year for me, but it was still pretty solid.
Yeah, I think that the show was really good in, I'd say, like the first half, three quarters, then kind of went a little downhill for me. But she's uh to me the casting is weird because she looks so similarly to the actress that's in Last of Us currently. Um, but I did like No One Will Save You. And I think it does have that like Twilight Zone aspect to it that I really liked. That's not a spoiler, but it just has that vibe. So I think you would like it to check it out, Tyler, in your spare time.
It gave me a Quiet Place vibe with someone blurted out that she only talks like 5 times in the movie, and I'm just sitting there going, "Great, that's my thing."
Exactly. Yeah, totally. That's why I think you're definitely gonna love it. Um, anything that you're excited? I'm glad this is up here because I was going to ask you anything you're excited for in 2024.
I actually have my letterbox list in another folder as we speak.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, there's some obvious ones. Like I've gotten the trailer for Argyle so many times, and that does look pretty decent in regards to Matthew Vaughn's spy movies.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
The one that I'm currently having the most amount of anticipation for is Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
You know how pissed I was that it got moved from November last year. Hell, it was supposed to come out on my birthday this year, but it actually got moved 2 weeks up. So early present, we'll just call it that. And that also means like less of a wait time for me. So that's really the big one. I close my eyes during all the trailers because everyone keeps saying it's going to be bigger in scope. There's going to be more fight scenes. There are all these new characters, old characters who actually get to do something this time around. It kind of sounds like they're building up Batista as the henchman a little bit because in the books, I guess he's supposed to be this incredibly violent brute, which would be cool. And Christopher Walken as the Emperor. No matter whether that is incredibly genius or way too stupid to take seriously, I have a feeling I'm going to like it either way.
Yeah. Yeah. I have watched the trailer and he's like the one person that feels really out of place, but I'm totally open to it as well.
I'm also wondering if like that's what Denis Villeneuve is planning with that casting, if he's just trying to like make it seem odd.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
Because I wouldn't have pictured Austin Butler as like the Sting henchman from the original, but
yeah. Dude who loves movies. Hey Cody, how's it going? Thanks so much for joining us. What's up, everyone? Don't forget to roundhouse kick that like button. Yes, absolutely. That's so kind of you. I know that the chat is still kind of going, but I'll do one list for you. I heard Hundreds of Beavers was bringing down the house at TIFF Midnight Madness. Can't wait for that one.
See, I'd heard about that one on Letterboxd, and it never came out on streaming. There were no feeders by me that were showing that one, but I heard a lot of good stuff when it came to that one. And a Midnight Madness TIFF movie that I didn't check out until it went to theaters was Dix the Musical, which holy shit, was that a wild ride, even as in regards to A24. Like it's basically if A24 made a John Waters movie, just made it as disgusting and vile as possible just to get a laugh. And the songs are surprisingly really good songs. I've listened to them multiple times at this point.
That's awesome. That's definitely high on my list. I keep waiting for the big transition for A24 to put all their films on Max. So unless you can stream Dix the Musical for free right now, I'm not sure.
You can rent it off of Apple or YouTube. That's how I did the rewatch.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Like if it's on Apple TV, it's on YouTube. That's how I rented Past Lives this afternoon.
yes. Oh, you watched it.
Well, I thought you might be disappointed in me if I didn't watch it before doing this stream because you
Oh.
also seemed let down when I didn't put it in my 25 of the year montage.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I understand. That's the thing that's weird doing it like this time of year because movies come out after for a lot of people. I mean, I still haven't seen some, so
Yeah, like I missed Anatomy of a Fall, I missed Dream Scenario, and I'm still kind of pissed that I missed Dream Scenario because at the premiere for that, Ari Aster and Nick Cage were literally across the street from me, and it was great.
wow, that's amazing. I can't even
Liter-
believe that.
Literally the same night that I had to see Kill of all things.
Well, Tyler, thank you so much for joining me today. Do you have anything you want
absolutely.
to promote for your channel or things that are coming up or things that people should expect if they subscribe?
Well, let's see. God, of all the things going up into this stream, I hadn't really thought of that one the most. But yeah, I'm currently putting out shorts every few days as often as I can. I'm getting into this new formula called non-reviews that I saw the Nostalgia Critic do like once back in the day when Transformers 5 came out, and he's just like, I've seen the first four, we all know what it's going to be, so I'm just going to review it as is. And I just sat there, and one night Fast X was being advertised, and I just sat there and went, well, I've seen the first, I don't even remember how many. I'm just going to say, like, I know this is going to happen, I know that's going to happen, I'm not going to watch it. And then I realized, you know what, I can make videos about movies I haven't seen just to show that like movies are so fucking predictable nowadays that you can review them without seeing it. So look forward to reviews on stuff I either have seen or haven't seen, most of them in short form at this point. But I'm definitely going to have a video up for Queen Rock Montreal just to describe what it's like to watch a concert movie. Because between stuff like, Beyonce Renaissance or the last one I reviewed was Jeff Dunham's Christmas special 3 years ago, and that guy, I was surprised by the reaction I got from that. But I mainly do reviews. I'm looking to do a video essay every month or so, along with the shorts, and really just to put out as much content as possible whenever I'm not editing for somebody else.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it. I think that's a great it's kind of a great concept to do the non-reviews of films that like you haven't seen but you know exactly how they're going to play out. I love that.
Yeah, there were ones where I thought people would kill me. Like I thought Little Mermaid would get some traction, and surprisingly, the algorithm played it to people who actually understood where I was coming from.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even hate the Little Mermaid remake, but it wound up on my worst list just because there were a lot of problematic things.
Knowing how you thought about the Marvels, I'm sure you would have appreciated my Marvels non-review.
I'll check it out. I haven't seen it yet. I'm definitely going to watch that for sure. I definitely try to watch most of yours, so that one definitely skipped my radar for some reason, but I'll definitely be checking it out.
Try to stay out of the comments on that one. I attracted a lot of stupids.
I'm sure. Well, thanks so much again, Tyler, for joining me. Thank you so much, everyone in the chat. I see everyone here is still kind of commenting. Fritzky came back and Hearth 2 Cinemas agreeing with you with Dixon Musical was fun. But again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you all next time. And thanks again.
Take care.